this bottom side, but realistically what we want is Lei to abandon Zhang Wuji to a certain extent as this game starts to go on, move towards the mid lane, and try and get on top of Teacher Ma. Ruby has full control here. He's even gone for the Conqueror to have that extra little bit of damage and sustain in these brawls. So Lei can move up, poke onto the melee Diana, who has to move up to approach the wave, and you can try and set up kills there with Wei Yan.
So just to update you guys, as we've got a little bit of a little battle between Crazy and Morgan. We said it would be head-to-head, and they've traded blows. But the reason we had a tiny little bit delay at the start there, I think Ruby had a sound issue on his end. But by the looks of things, everything fixed up, so we'll be able to continue with our matchup here. And by the looks of things, we're going to have our two different junglers starting on opposite sides of the map here.
So Beishang is starting on the bottom side here, because the problem with Senna, another problem kind of with Senna and Tam Kench, is you don't have control of your lane. You're not the ones that are pushing forward, you're not the ones that are able to get control, so priority automatically defaults to the other team on that side. So Beishang starting on his weak side to move towards the top side of the map. And this helps Beishang because it's the two lanes that you're really going to want to gank. Yes, you can get a gank in the bottom lane, but realistically getting into that lane where you've only got the Senna W to set you up is a bit more difficult. So Beishang is looking to play towards Teacher Ma, and more than likely Morgan in this top lane, because as we already talked about, you got a lot of gank set up there from Morgan with the Darken Blades speed spots or even the Inferno Chains.
Wuji taking a little bit of poke here. Lei gets a double flay, but they're not winning out this trade, all things considered. Wuji will get the rend at the end, though, just to even things out. But as you mentioned before, you don't expect a ton of fighting between these two. You expect them to kind of spar back and forth, but ultimately, it seems unlikely that we'll see any major 2v2 action.
This is just going to be stalemates galore. It'll be a case of how quickly can Rogue Warriors push in and then enact elsewhere on the map. It sets them up nicely for trying to go for some objectives like the Dragon, or even if they want to rotate Lei out of lane completely and look towards the Rift Herald. So this is where Rogue Warriors have control of the early map, and this is pretty much where they're happiest. If they can start taking control of these early objectives, Rogue Warriors can set themselves up very well for those later games.
Beishang moving down towards the bottom side of the map. He has been spotted out by a ward there, so Rogue Warriors will have complete knowledge of where he's going to be. We could have a little bit of a fight over the bottom scuttle. It's about to spawn. Wei Yan, the first one on the scene, but he knows Beishang's here. Beishang also knows Wei Yan's here. They think that they're deciding this is a fight for a different day.
Yeah, Beishang is going to move towards the top side to get this scuttle for himself. So Teacher Ma, with pushing in the wave there, can go to help. Oh, they don't quite spot it out.
So close. Beishang, if he was just closer to the middle of the river there, would have spotted the ward. I don't think that's going to lead to too much.
It's not the end of the world. They knew already where he was going to be positioning. That's the normal play, is if you start to see someone, your enemy jungler, going for that bottom scuttle crab, okay, we're just going to abandon it. We'll move towards the top and get one for ourselves. It's more about picking up at least one of the scuttle crabs for yourself in this early clear.
Yeah, Wei Yan being a little bit cheeky towards this bottom side. I think he managed to steal away the big Krug, but he's going to be recalling over towards the red wolf. I'm not sure if he actually finished the camp or not, whether he took any or if he just dropped a ward there.
Well, so far Beishang has been relatively quiet. And looking at where Rek'Sai is most comfortable ganking, when you're on a blue side Rek'Sai, you tend to gank towards the bottom lane. Because the way that you want to work it is sweep into the enemy jungle, make sure you haven't been spotted, and you can come over that back wall and sneak into the bottom side of the map. That's not so much the case this time around, because as we said, Sen and Tan Kench can't really do a huge amount. So now Rek'Sai has got to try and get in onto the top side of the map, which is a lot more difficult for them to gank. Because Crazy can set up a ward in the tri-bush to keep himself safe. We already saw that Ruby had placed a ward on his top side of the map as well to make sure that they spotted out where Ruby was. So Beishang has his work cut out to try and make these ganks happen. The longer it doesn't happen, well, Wei Yan's happy with that. Eventually, once he hits this level 6 mark, his ganks will become far more potent and can set up for his team in a much better respect.
Well, you mentioned Wei Yan having that advantage in the early stage, especially once he hits 6. But before that, they've got priority. They know that Jiomeng and Missing head back to base, and that means that this first Drake will go the way of Rogue Warriors. And with the Drake off the board, Rift Herald will be the next objective to spawn. Dagda, a lot of that comes down to top lane pressure. Talk me through this matchup a little bit. How do these two teams get pressure towards the top side to get that first Herald?
So initially looking at this top lane matchup, it's fairly even. So Morgan can poke pretty well against Crazy with the Darkened Blades. Crazy can turn it back, as you can see, with the Flame Spitter. And until you get the Morellonomicon that actually has a bit of the Grievous Wounds there, you can't force out Morgan because he's got so much inherent healing in his kit. So pretty much a stalemate on the top side of the map. What you're really looking to do is, and coming back to the point we were talking about earlier on, is how do you get the supports involved in this? When Zhang Wuji is on this Kalista, it's almost impossible for Missing and Jomong to get onto Zhang Wuji. So Lei has the opportunity to control the wave. They can crash it on the bottom side, back it up, and there's two schools of thought on this. You can either have Lei stick around in the lane on the bottom side, freeze the wave, and then have Zhang Wuji to come back and pick up a nice wave for himself, or they just have Lei back completely, and Zhang Wuji and Lei can move up. And actually the third school is, which I forgot, is Zhang Wuji can just hold the wave, back it up, and just abandon it altogether, go down and hold the wave himself. So there's a couple of different ways you can play it. I'd imagine with the style Rogue Warriors usually go for, it's Zhang Wuji should hang on by himself on the bottom side.
Well, that's a whole bunch of macro right there, ladies and gentlemen.
You asked the wrong question.
I got lost during Plan A, but I don't know. Maybe I wasn't born to be a killer caster. Lei with a flash. Won't find the hook. It's just going to be Hook Town for now, no Hook City. Lei going to be rooted up by Jomong there, but can walk away comfortably. So just going to be the one Drake in favor of Rogue Warriors so far, but we mentioned the Herald before. That's going to be coming onto the map in the next 45 seconds or so. And we'll see which team is going to respond, whether they go for Plan A, Plan B, or Plan C.
Yeah, well, right now, I don't think anyone really wants to get moving too much. Although, as I say that, Beishang.
Lei doesn't get rooted, but he will get knocked up anyway. That's going to be first blood going the way of Beishang. The bottom lane gank coming on strong.
With no flash available on Lei, it was easy for Beishang to get in there. Thought at least they should have been able to escape away from that, but unfortunately with so many slows and also having that stun come in from Jomong, they're able to finish off Lei.
And that's one of the things about both of these bottom lanes is when you're dealing with a Thresh, when you're dealing with a Tahm Kench, quite often it can be better to just focus them instead of the AD carry because, you know, you can lantern someone else out. You can't lantern yourself out.
And usually this lane is really difficult to gank because you've got the Lantern, but you've also got the Fate's Call on the Kalista. Not quite level 6 for Zhang Wuji, so unable to help out Lei in that situation, and will be first blood to WE. Also picking up a lot of these turret plates in the bottom side of the map. This is fantastic for them.
Yeah, honestly, considering... Oh, here we go. Big ultimate coming out from our Diana here. Sherman looking for something, but even with an equalizer there, Rogue Warriors, they're going to be happy to just go for the Herald, walk away with the objective. They don't really want the fight.
Beishang making the play on the bottom side gave Wei Yan the time to move in to help secure that, as well as having Morgan back in, back and not able to help out. So Crazy moves over, they get the Herald. Now it's a case of where do they try and use it, because so far this game has been pretty quiet from the side of Rogue Warriors. They have the late game insurance still of that Cassiopeia, so they don't have to try and accelerate this game too hard, but I would love to see that Rift Herald used in a manner to get some gold onto the likes of Cassiopeia or Crazy in this top lane.
A lot of pings over towards the bottom side of the map here. Crazy has a massive minion wave for himself to soak up. He'll be happy with that one. Even if it's crashed up there, no turret plate falls, there's no jungle support coming out from Beishang, so he's quite happy to just soak all of them up.
Rogue Warriors are also going to be able to soak up this dragon. Crazy has the teleport available. It's not available for Morgan, so Rogue Warriors will have the numbers advantage when it comes to this play. Morgan trying to push in this wave as quickly as possible in the top side so we can try and get another crash right as Crazy would look to make that teleport play.
The minion wave is going to be crashing right now, but it's a little bit too early for any kind of crash to happen, for any kind of teleport plays to be denied. Morgan did get a turret plate though. Bear in mind we're in 10.5. They got buffed up slightly, so it's 160 gold. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Tahm Kench center, and that's why we said that this won't be that action-packed of a lane.
So 6 seconds on this dragon now. You can see Rogue Warriors already moving to gobble up that Drake the second it spawns.
Beishang is here. He watched Wuji move over towards the rest of his team. Missing going to be moving over as well. 4 members strong. for Rogue Warriors, but the same can be said for World Elite.
Crazy's got that TP though, equalizes up.
Oh, hook lands straight onto Jomong. That's going to be massive. Equalizer only onto one. It's not enough. Dragon goes the way of Rogue Warriors. Crazy looks like he wants more, but the turret will deter it.
Rogue Warriors should try and keep this play going on the bottom side. You've got the Rift Herald. You can go for this turret. You're trading this for Morgan's plates in the top side of the map.
WE falling behind a little bit on these plays. Is Jomon getting caught out by a hook there? It's not ideal. The Rift Herald didn't charge. They put it too close to the tower.
That's a big mistake from Rogue Warriors. So yes, they get the Dragon, but Crazy TP'd for nothing. He's lost 2 plates on the top side already, possibly a third because of the changes to that to melee. There it is, the third one gone, yeah.
So my mind is boggled.
Yeah.
What? I didn't even know you could not get a charge on the Rift Herald, honestly. I play in Gold Elo, and I haven't seen anyone mess up the Rift Herald in that way.
Yeah, that's a...
What are you doing, man? Come on.
I don't know what to analyze in that situation.
I thought this was the professional leagues. Oh, dear. Well, you know, it's not great. It's not ideal. But, hey, they got 2 dragons, so who cares if they're 1,500 gold behind? I suppose they do.
Just turret plates.
Lei looking for the hook, gets it onto Missing. There's a flayback. Missing taking a lot of damage, but actually he's pretty tanky right now. Wuji's in trouble because the TP coming through from Crazy. Wuji's low. There's the World Ender. Fate's Call pulls out the Tom Kench. Infernal Chains won't get the pullback. Teleport used here for WE.
It gets the tower, though. This was the play. If Crazy's going to commit his teleport for the Dragon, well, then WE can make the play.
Though? Does it get the tower, though? Hook doesn't land from Lei,
Morgan.
and Morgan turns it around. That's a stopwatch to ruin his day. Wuji survives as well. Morgan completely denied. And now it's Ruby's turn to go big. Flash away keeps him safe. Beishong on the back lines. Everybody get it pretty low from the side of Rogue Warriors. They know you're there, Beishong. Oh, a little bit of a spooky spike right there, but looks like the fight is deterred in the end.
It looks like it is, but it looks like our guys have not quite connected in the way that we would have liked. So we're going to hang on for just a moment. But either way,
that's the thing,
that's
you know.
2 plays that have been denied on either side that haven't quite gone their way.
I know. Lei wasn't able to connect with the hook the way we wanted, and then the game wasn't able to connect to the observer the way we wanted. It's, you know, sometimes the connection's not there. This, I mean, we set it up as this kind of middle of the table, bit of a tooth and nail, bit of a scrap here. And I feel like that's exactly what we're getting. We said it right at the start. These are not your 2 top teams. No. Don't expect this to be the very best League of Legends game
I don't think we're going to see Invictus Gaming or eStars use a Rift Herald in quite that way.
And yeah, not get the charge off it. But at the same time, though, this is the kind of League of Legends I love to watch. It's a little bit messy, but it's scrappy. These guys clearly want the wins. They need the wins on the board, and you can see it in the way that they're playing.
It's just unfortunate that the plays that they're trying to make haven't quite worked out. So you can see the idea is there. Okay, Crazy, you're teleporting down to get this Dragon. We've got teleport advantage. We can make this happen. Teleport's a little bit too late. They're not able to get the equalizer in time, so a lot of members of WE are able to escape. And then Morgan's like, hang on a second, guys. We can do the same play. And he tries to use his teleport and misses the sweet spot. That final sweet spot barely missed out on Lei and Shang Wuji. So no damage there. They couldn't finish off the 2 low health targets. He falls. And then Ruby's just wandering in to help clean up as well. So this was a swing and a miss on both sides. But when all is said and done, it is Rogue Warriors that are picking up the plates. So that's, it is WE who are picking up the plates.
Yeah, it was WE that kind of getting a little bit of momentum from it. WE the ones that are getting a bit of a gold lead. Rogue Warriors on the other side, though, they have got the Dragon advantage. They're the ones that have been in control of these neutral objectives so far, so it's still possible that they're able to snowball through that win condition instead. But the problem with Dragons being your win condition is, sure, you can get the Dragon Soul, but is the Dragon Soul a big enough objective for you to then win fights? Because if you're sacrificing enough of a gold lead for that, it quite often just doesn't matter.
That is the case, but it's kind of generally the team that's winning the early tends to get the dragons. But this is a game where it's not that, because they've invested so much and given so many of those turret plates across. Now, don't forget, if anyone hasn't been keeping up with 10.5, the turret plates were changed. They give 160 gold this time around.
Yep.
And as well, they're easier for melee champions to kill, which is why you could see that Aatrox for Morgan in the top lane was able to rip through 3 of those turret plates pretty handily in the space it took the Rumble to get back to lane. So this is where you're starting to build these advantages for WE, and Rogue Warriors feel like they haven't quite picked up on the pace of the 10.5 meta.
With so many things going the way of these melee bruisers up in the top lane, it's not really surprising that we're seeing Aatrox coming through with much more priority. Things like the Aurelia as well coming through in these drafts. Renekton has been basically pick up ban every game.
I mean, look, Renekton has a 70% win rate in the LPL.
Yeah.
Like, either way, this champion is real strong here.
I feel like he was already super high priority in the LPL, but with this patch, I think he's going to be high priority all over the world, and I think some other leagues are running. I know LEC's running. I think LCS is ending up pausing now. Again, LCK is about to kick off again. So we'll see how Renekton's presence in the other regions will work out, but it feels to me like he's incredibly strong. All of these bruisers with Blade of the Rune King buffs, with the nerfs to the turret plates when they're getting onto them, suddenly the TP plays bot seem almost less enticing when you can just allow your teammates go do that. Yeah. Sacrifice your team and get some turret plates for yourself.
I think honestly, I think it all comes back just to that Rift Herald. If that Rift Herald had actually got the charge off, maybe we would be talking about a very different game. Although the thing was, they hadn't actually taken many of the turret plates in the bottom lane. The bulwark is a lot more potent or stronger now with more people around it, so they couldn't have pushed on as effectively. But it's opened up the game a lot more, and I think that's why we're seeing this top lane turret going down a lot more often than we used to, because it used to be the case that you try and use it in whatever situation worked, where maybe you wanted to get more gold in on this player or this champion to carry us through. But now it becomes much more of a case of, okay, we can open up this map a lot faster if we play through this top side. And if we've got an advantage, like we saw Morgan doing on this Aatrox, pushing in, getting one turret plate for himself, you can start to snowball these objectives very quickly and use the lack of defenses that the enemy team has to sneak into topside jungle, get some wards down. Okay, cool. Now we know where the enemy jungler is. We can 3-4 man dive bot. It starts to set you up. It's this information game that a lot of teams are starting to use.
I have to say, and when we talk about the information game, a lot of that, when you're talking about vision, especially around the bottom side objectives, it all comes back up to the top laners as well, because getting the correct wards down, getting control of that area often allows you to make the TP plays that we were talking about earlier, where your top laner can come get a flank, pop the dominance on Renekton and just go crazy. But up on the top lane, when we were talking about Morgan versus Crazy, the champions you think of immediately are like the Aatrox, like the Renekton, like even Mordekaiser.
Yeah.
Crazy, though, going with the Rumble is something I didn't really expect coming into this series. I was expecting that Rumble to go mid, honestly. So it's kind of a different style almost that we're seeing out of Crazy.
I think a lot of teams kind of just forget that Rumble can still go top, because the one that always stands out to me is IG using it as an actual flex, where it's not just, okay, we can put it mid, it'll do well, we've got Jarvan there, easy gank, we can use on both sides of the map. The team IG are a team that still use it towards the Shy. Shy's had fantastic equalizers, and now we get to see it come in again, where you've got a lot of strength there. You still have the same pushing power. It's even more obnoxious in the top lane because the Flame Spitter can hit onto you as you try to CS. So it's a lot more difficult to play against in the early stages. But it's now starting to teeter back over again because people are building Blade of the Rune King. Now the Flame Spitter I can deal with a little bit better because I'm getting some health back. So it's all just gone a bit topsy-turvy now, which is why we're not seeing a huge amount of Rumble. And you could see it in this matchup as well, where Aatrox, yes, was eating up a couple of hits of this Flame Spitter, but he's got so much innate lifesteal in his kit that it didn't matter.
He's not too worried about it. And that's the thing as well when you're playing an AP champion against the likes of an Aatrox. You know, a lot of champions can build some mortal wounds. They can build either an Executioner's or they can build the, I can't remember what Bramble Vest is called. That reduces the sustain that you get out of the Aatrox. As an AP, though, you don't get that luxury. You have to go all the way to a Morellonomicon, which is, for the sake of a lane matchup, not really worth it most of the time. So suddenly, that matchup in of itself becomes innately harder.
Yeah, and that's why I think Rumble fell out of popularity in the top lane, was you just don't have, like, look at the champions that we're talking about. Mordekaiser has a
Yeah.
heal in his kit. Renekton has a heal in his kit. Aatrox is a bunch of healing in his kit. So this is where it just became so much more difficult for the Rumble to have and push the advantages, because the Rumble is such a lane bully in the top lane that if you're not getting use out of that, and you can't have the same often or frequent use out of the ultimate when you're playing as you would be playing in the mid lane, well then Rumble starts to teeter off. He's not as high priority, so teams now are veering away from him. This game though, Crazy has been able to come down, get involved with that teleport play. Couldn't quite get the equalizer there in time, but at least we're starting to see the works for this Rumble.
Yeah, and also he's got a Jarvan in the jungle this game as well, so
makes
you're
it a
always
lot
going to
easier.
have a bit of a good time on the Rumble when you're alongside the Jarvan. For anyone that's been living under a rock, obviously, you get a Cataclysm, you get an Equalizer, you put them together.
Pineapple
Burger,
Yeah.
or something like that. That's probably too obscure of a reference. It was an ad in Australia. Moving on.
Pineapple pen is a thing though. That's just the song.
Huh?
The song. I have a pen. I'm not singing. I don't have the voice to sing. I will show you after cast, okay? We do karaoke later.
Straight
I'll
over my head, that one. If you're going to drop some references on me, stick to Lord of the Rings.
You started
That's
this
where I'm at.
reference. But yes, I know.
I'm gonna
You're in
blame
Lord
you.
of the Rings.
I'm going to blame
He
you.
has been obnoxiously talking about Lord of the Rings for quite a while at this stage.
For quite a while, being 28 years. I've been talking about it longer than the film has been out, because books exist, Dagda.
No, they don't.
Did you ever
You're
go
just lying.
Why don't you read a book for once? Jeez. Because there aren't any books on League of Legends, that's why. We're back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the delay was, but I'm sure there was a good reason for it. I know Ruby was having some audio issues right at the start of things, but that seemed like connection issues, to be honest. But I don't know. It could just also sometimes when you pause, the spectator does bug out a little bit, so.
Maybe it was just Ruby coming back in and going, hey, I don't know if you heard the announcer. I've actually got 2 kills on this Cassiopeia. I'm setting up to be in great shape, and looks like we're going to play onto Ruby.
He doesn't look... Oh, maybe he
no.
is in great shape. Huge damage. Beishong gets pulled on out by Missing. They need reinforcements. The squad is arriving, but Missing's in trouble. Morgan gets exhausted. Missing goes golden, saves his own life. Beishong gets onto Wei Yan. How did that turn around? Ruby, still full HP, by the way, as Wuji comes in onto the play as well. They're going to go onto Jomung. He's going to get grounded and taken down. Ruby rewarded with a kill for his play.
Who needs boots when I've got style? You get Ruby moving so well in that fight, dodging away from so many abilities. The exhaust coming in crucially as well. And Rogue Warriors have a 4-kill Cassiopeia at 14 minutes into the game.
Ruby is absolutely huge right now.
Let's
He's
go.
large and in charge. And the gold lead we were talking about before that was in favor of WE is no longer. This turret will go down. 300 gold is the difference. The Dragon's still going the way of Rogue Warriors.
Well, we'll have to see if this next one is actually going to go the way of Rogue Warriors, or WE, because they're going to struggle with this Cassiopeia. And look how much damage comes out here.
Ruby's like, you're approaching me?
Yeah, great Cassiopeia play. Petrifying Gaze has shut them down. And watch Ruby on the back line here. Yeses has Morgan attached, flashes away,
beautiful.
dodges the lockups that would be coming through. And that would have dissuaded Rogue Warriors from picking up a second kill there. But overall, Rogue Warriors, they're putting some moves out today.
Ruby especially, great use of his summoner spells there. You saw Morgan making an attempt on him. Great use of the flash, great use of the exhaust. Just completely denies Morgan's impact in the fight entirely.
Infernal is up though. Rogue Warriors could look to fight for this just off the back of how strong Ruby is. Riley's Crystal Scepter will mess up so many of these engagements for Morgan and Beishong.
Dragon start, 5,000 HP remains though. Missing, going to be trying to deter the engage. Crazy has the equalizer. Cataclysm goes down. There's the hot pot into the fight, but huge damage onto the side of Ruby. Wuji gets the Fate's Call off to keep himself alive, to keep his support alive. But ultimately, it's WE that win the fight.
Teacher Mao says, hang on, you've been talking too much about Ruby. I'm the mid laner you need to watch here. Annihilates Ruby and... I mean, I didn't even see who the other health bar was. Was it missing? I was just like, holy God, this is a lot of damage from this Diana.
Oh yeah, it was Lake. His missing is his teammate. Don't worry, we're definitely on top of this one. But now, also, a Herald will be their reward from the back of this one. The Infernal Drake goes down on the bottom side of the map. WE managed to get a Herald for themselves. Let's see if they know that if you put it far away enough from a tower, it will actually charge and do some damage.
Look, that's a bit high level for us, but we'll have to see if that is going to be the case. As well, don't forget, Beishang did somehow, which I wasn't entirely sure about, got a knock-up on that first Rift Tower, which was a bit curious. But either way, I didn't realize that was the thing.
I think it might have been interrupted, perhaps. Because I think I've seen like melee charges before, but I don't understand. Herald is weird because you can charge it with Urgot to deny things. Speaking of denying things, Morgan wants the tower, but Ruby will not let him have it. The minions are still going to finish the tower. Morgan is cackling all the way to the back.
This Aatrox, I mean, at the beginning we were kind of like, okay, it's not quite working in his favor, but now stepping up, has gotten a bunch of turret plates for himself, now got the Terra Gold as well. Morgan is in great shape for this Aatrox, but looking over at his counterpart as well, Crazy does have the level advantage, has completed his Liandry's Torment, so in these fights, if you're sticking around on that Equalizer for long, that extra tick of damage is going to be burning through the health bar so quickly.
Xiaomeng takes a huge pierce there, but obviously with the piercing light of his own. Oh, Wei Yan does have the Cataclysm, but he's going to be rooted up, and good damage coming out from Xiaomeng, and that is really the strength of Senna, right? If you don't get onto her initially, oh, no stun comes through. Cataclysm is there. Xiaomeng gets flayed on down, and the kill goes to Ruby. Missing flashes away, but there's a lot of damage to follow him on up. Oh, the thick skin, though, is magnificent. So is the pierce. Beautifully done by Wuji.
Now Rogue Warriors can start to push on towards this mid lane turret, and Crazy held on to his ultimate, refrained from using the Equalizer, so if anyone comes to approach them, they can try and make a play. But WE say, we don't want anything to do with that. We're looking at your bot lane turrets.
Oh yeah, and the Herald, this one is going to be effective as it moves on in towards the inhibitor tower here. And with it, Diana, you're going to be able to burn through that. Fantastic trade from WE.
Brilliant trade, because it's not only a inhibitor turret going down, but the bottom lane one as well, just as Baron is about to come up. So now they can have Morgan, who's looking fantastic in these side lanes, pressure that bottom lane inhibitor. The rest of WE can move in and get control on this Baron. That Baron setup is far easier as well when you've got a Rek'Sai. And you've got the passive from the Rek'Sai to spot people out, so Beishang can move in with the likes of Teacher Ma, know they're relatively safe in spotting out where Rogue Warriors are, and if a wayward warrior ends up in that topside jungle, they can try and annihilate them with Teacher Ma and Beishang.
And this is the kind of League of Legends we wanted to watch here today. The scrap for the middle of the table, and you can see them fighting tooth and nail. The goal difference is only 2,000 at 20 minutes. Dragons getting close to even, and every single time somebody makes a play, you got to look to the other half of the map, because the other team will make a counterplay.
Side lanes are the name of the game now for WE. We just said we want to see split pushing. That's exactly what they're going to do. Teacher Ma is going to be down on the bottom side, though. I kind of want to see Teacher Ma here at the beginning of fights. I feel like that ultimate is so crucial when everyone is all grouped up and effective. Teleporting in where you're going to have people start to spread out as fights dissipate and move in the dance that goes on in these engagements means it's a lot more difficult to find multi-man lockups with that ultimate.
We've got a little bit of a reset here as Baron has now entered the map, but more importantly, we've got that Infernal Drake spawning in 40 seconds. If Rogue Warriors were able to get it, that would be soul point for them. But as you mentioned before, the split push pressure that can come out from WE can give them a lot of priority on the map. I say that though. Oh, nice TP. Wei Yan can interrupt this one. What? It's got to have been called out.
It's on cooldown. Yeah, he used it to get down the river. WE do turn towards this Baron.
It just looked so funky.
I know, but WE actually don't have the quickest Baron taking potential, so it's more about trying to use the threat of Baron to go for it. Teacher Ma TP towards the mid lane, so now looking to force Rogue Warriors out of the river so they can go towards this dragon.
I mean, the minions might take an inhib on their own there. There is a massive wave, but a knock-up goes down. Cataclysm there as well. Big damage coming out from Ruby. Dawning Shadow not going to do all too much as the Lantern pulls him to safety. Beishang gets onto Wuji in the back line, but he kites away for his life. No, Void Rush finishes him. Ruby's still alive, but Morgan takes the kill as Jiaomeng helps him out. Beishang in the back line, helped by Morgan. Can he finish the kills though? Wei Yan flag and drags back on out. There's a Lantern to pull him to safety. Crazy finished the rest of the squad off, and Morgan trying his best, but his whole squad has gone down, and now it would be burnt to a crisp by Crazy trying to finish this kill off. Wei Yan should be able to get a flag and drag here. The knockup's there. Crazy will be able to finish the kill. No, Wei Yan wants it for himself.
They still do need to get down towards the bottom side, though. You can see the pings onto the inhibitor. That could be taken, as he said, Munchables, by these creeps. I want to see the health on it. There it goes.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Minions alone. And you mentioned the pressure early in that bottom lane will be important. Literally just minions alone take an objective. Everything is on the side of WE.
Minions are back. It's been a while since I've seen them in the LPL, but always good to see some macro play setting up pressure on the map. Now with Super Creep streaming down into that bottom lane, the TP that's burnt on the Diana doesn't matter as much because they can have her play still on top side and still have pressure towards the bottom. Looking towards WE here though, this fight did not work out hot for them whatsoever. Very separated to begin with. Even you can see Morgan caught between two places. Do I try and go in and support Beishang here, or do I try and play back and help Jiaomeng? Either way, it's a lose-lose, and Rogue Warriors take the team fight off the back of it.
Yeah, and you could see Ruby in the middle of everything as well, just layering the damage out. Managed to get a nice little stopwatch as well to keep him safe from Morgan for a little while. And all things considered, even though the minions are on the side of WE, the control of this game right now goes the way of Rogue Warriors. Crazy as his TP, so he can hang out towards the bottom side, clear the super minions. Go just about in favor of RW, sorry. But most importantly, they have pressure on this Baron right now.
So how WE are going to start setting up for these Barons? Because as we said, not the quickest of Barons. It's more about trying to get Rogue Warriors over to deal with this. I want to see Morgan down on this bottom side because he's the one with teleport. Oh, hang on.
Beishang caught out. Cataclysm goes down. Oh, Lei with a beautiful hook. Teachama could be in trouble here. Goes in for the moonfall. It's huge. The wombo combo. This is how you turn a game around. WE, they want the fight, and they can have it with a cherry on top. That's going to be 4 for nothing.
It's going to be the Baron as well for WE. They hunt Ruby back. They turn towards the objective. And as well, look at that bottom lane. You got two super creeps that have now joined up to push in. So you need Ruby to go and deal with that. Can't try and contest. And even if he wanted to, it's 1v5. Ruby, you're fed, but you're not that big.
And I love how we saw the Cataclysm from Wei Yan. We saw the hook from Lei. And the whole side of WE were like, I don't know if you want this one, guys. I don't know if that's a fight you want to start.
Teacher Ma with the massive moonfall in that engagement. So, like, this is where I want to see WE start to put more attention towards the mid lane. Plex and Teacher Ma both have the lowest gold share of any mid laner. And when Teacher Ma is able to turn around and have plays like this, why would you not invest in the mid laner of WE?
Oh man, moonfall is just disgusting. And then the cleanup crew of Morgan comes sweeping through the team as well. Terrifying those poor minions. They didn't know what horrors they just witnessed.
I would as well. If you've got these giants fighting over you and suddenly that moonfall comes out of nowhere, I'd be pretty scared as well. Either way though, WE are going to be pretty happy with themselves. 3-1-4 for Beishang. Has got the Black Cleaver now working towards the GA. So again, Guardian Angel coming in here to set up as an engage tool. Beishang realizes, hey look, there's only 1 or 2 fights that are potentially left if we win this hard enough. So the GA allow me to flash in aggressively, get the knock up onto crucial members, setting up Teacher Ma and not giving over kills.
Now, suddenly, after being in control the majority of this game, Rogue Warriors are the ones with their backs against the ropes. They're 4,000 gold down. That 4th dragon though, minute and 20 seconds. Rogue Warriors are the ones on Soul Point. But I'm struggling to figure out a scenario where they get priority on this objective.
It all has to come down to Ruby. Watch Morgan, Beishang, and Teacher Ma, because they will be looking towards Cassiopeia. They want to take down Ruby. this Cassiopeia is still quite large. So if she's allowed to have free roam in these fights, Ruby can take over. Needs to be shut down, but this time has the flash, has the exhaust available as well. So Rogue Warriors may be able to fight at this dragon in 45 seconds.
Crazy does have the TP. So worst case scenario, he can come and join the fray. Wuji is going to be rooted up, but Lei's there to protect him. Pulls him forward to get rid of this cannon as well. The Baron buff going to be used on a couple of these tier 2s. Not too much gained with this buff from the side of WE, but that's because they already had an inhib in the bottom side.
That inhibitor is going to be respawning in just a few seconds as well. So WE can push in this wave mid, then take the tower just off the back. You can see it's going very low.
Don't know if they're going to be able to finish that one. Missing, though. Very tanky on the front line. Dawning Shadow doesn't do all too much. Lei can't quite find the hook he wanted. And I think this will be deterred in the end. The tower survives for now. Vision just being cleared. Abyssal Voyage over towards the Dragon as WE, they want to rush this objective down. There's going to be a hook. That's going to be a find onto Teachama. That's so huge. And now on towards the Dragon as well. Missing, caught in a Cataclysm. Flashes over the wall, gets a little heal from Jomung, but he won't be able to get away from Crazy. Gets him shut down, and that's 13-9 now. Dragon and Soul Point here for Rogue Warriors.
Beishang needs to make the steal. He's 2 levels up, but can't get into the pit.
No chance.
Rogue Warriors finding the pick on Missing that sets them up to pick up such a massive boon for themselves.
And like we said at the start, this is back and forth between these two squads. This is the scrap that we wanted, and we're getting it just beautifully in front of us here. Rogue Warriors now with an Infernal Soul.
Mid-table madness in the LPL is where we thrive. These games are so exciting with back and forths, as you said, Munchables, all over the place. Now we've hit the position where Rogue Warriors can look to fight. It's a 3k gold lead in favor of WE, yes, but they've got the stronger composition in the late game if allowed to set up. This Cassiopeia is working towards the Void Staff with already 3 items in her inventory, so we'll be able to burst through anyone on WE's side. So again, we're keeping our eyes on Teacherman. This is the answer that is needed for Ruby. Can this Diana get onto the back line, disrupt Ruby in these fights, and set up WE to take game number 1, or will Rogue Warriors with the Snake leading the charge take down WE?
Gonna have to find out as we rapidly head towards the 30-minute mark here. Baron not quite on the map just yet. It's a minute away, and you can see Rogue Warriors already wanting to make sure that they have control of the area.
WE is making sure they have control of their lanes, though, and that's the big priority right now. If nobody's able to deal with Morgan on this bottom side, no Baron up for a minute, all these members of WE in the bottom side can join the Aatrox in taking down that objective. We'll give over control of this Baron area to Rogue Warriors, but you're pretty okay with that. You've still got enough time to make the play, get this inhibitor, and if nobody's going to react from Team Rogue or from Rogue Warriors, well then just take the Nexus turrets as well.
It's rapidly becoming far more difficult though for Rogue Warriors as we head on into these fights, because you can see GAs now starting to get picked up across the board. We've got Morgan with one, Beishang with one. Teachama obviously has his Zhonyas as well. So all 3 of these guys that want to jump into the backline, that want to get onto Wuji and onto Ruby, can do so a little bit more safely and with a little bit more damage as well.
You don't quite have the same items coming through on the opposite side for Rogue Warriors. You do have, yes, a stopwatch there in for Strong Wuji. You've got the Zhonyas as well for Ruby, which will help them stay alive if they're jumped on. And I think maybe that could help, but Rogue Warriors are the ones that are starting up.
Here we go.
WE are not in position.
Confidence call coming through here from Rogue Warriors. They say we can just rush this one down. We've got a Cassiopeia.
And a
We've
Callista.
got the Rend as well, and they're going to be able to grab the objective. Beishang, though, with a stopwatch, will be able to get himself out. There's a Moonfall onto 4, but just doesn't really have the damage. Teachama flashes away, gets saved up by Missing as well. Cataclysm to keep this fight going. Extended Brawl coming on through as everyone trying to get onto Wei Yan. Flashes away to safety. Equalizer across the team. Crazy's found the backline right here. Jomung goes down. He'll get one onto Missing as well shortly. Teachama can't do anything. and Beishang just crawls away on the back of the fight. It's another one for Rogue Warriors.
The Guardian Angels might be on the side of WE, but the miracle fight comes through for Rogue Warriors. They pick up the Baron, they pick up the kills, and with that extra damage from the Infernal Soul, can power through WE and now through the base.
This might just be game. We'll have to wait and see. 20 seconds on some of these death timers. It depends on how the next fight or so goes. Beishang wants a flank. He doesn't have his GA available.
No.
Oh, what a hook. We said it was Hook City. And Lei living up to it. I said they might snowball. And if Beishang's going to kill himself, that's the way it's going to go. Now on towards the Nexus Towers. There's a Diana, there's a Moonfall. Is the damage going to be there? I don't think it is. Jiaomong on his own can't save the day. Missing, won't be able to block the damage. The Nexus will fall here. Equalizer, a couple more kills just as a cherry on top. But Rogue Warriors take game number 1.
Rogue Warriors.